Okay guys, so here are the palettes that we're going to be talking about today. Oh my gosh, it's quite a pile. I'm in trouble. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. erika.tesla here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about palettes I'm excited to use for the holiday / winter season. And I have seen a few videos of these pop up, and I thought it would be fun to explore palettes that I have in my own collection. Some of them I've had for a while, some of them are newer to me, some of them I have received in PR, which if that is the case, I will indicate that while we are going through the palettes. This is not going to be a rankings video, just so much as an overview of different options to explore. And I am pretty sure that if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that there's going to be some overlap with things in your collection. So hopefully it will inspire you to use some of the things that you already have. I have 16, maybe 17 palettes to talk about, which I know is a lot, but I had a really hard time narrowing down the palettes for this video because there are just quite a few good ones. I will try to consolidate some into groupings by brand, just because I do have multiple palettes from the same brands that I just really gravitate toward because of the quality and just the style of palette might resonate with me, for example. So let's go ahead and get into the video. And so I'm gonna actually start off with a very affordable option that I picked up recently at Ulta, and I have done, I think, a palette video with this one. I talked about this in a new purchase video, but this is the NYX Cosmetics Flamingo Frost color palette, and I picked this up from Ulta, and I really like this palette for the green shade here. That is just so stunning, and I like that this is kind of a not so traditional take on holiday. Like, it's got the fun pinks and the greens, and then you have neutral colors to balance the palette. So we have these like really pretty shades here, and maybe not the most amazing swatches, but you could see you have that green and this mint. And I did a look with this palette that I really liked, and I was able to ground it with this like very deep brown shade here. But this is just such a fun palette. It's affordable, and right now Ulta is having like tons of sales. So if you have been thinking about this one, it's so cute, and also I think it's very giftable too for a makeup lover. So this was definitely one that I'm really excited to be using this holiday season. So for the next part of this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the luxury palettes that I am really excited to use this holiday season. And I'm going to start with a palette that I received in PR by Lancome. So this is the Lancome X Louvre collection, and this was done in collaboration with Lisa Eldridge. And so this is a very shimmery, like kind of highlighty palette. It's not going to have like the deep foiled shimmers that we might see in some other brands, but I really do like this palette. It includes a highlight, but the star of the show, again, we're going back to greens, and I always think of greens during the holidays. It's this really beautiful green eyeshadow. Like, look how pigmented that is, and we're just going to swatch that for you really quickly. It looks amazing on the eyes. This shade looks amazing on the eyes. So it is just so pretty. And what I love about this formula is that if you have texture on the lids, brands like Lancome, they do a really nice job of really understanding that with mature skin and lids, that some textures can be a little bit of a challenge to work with. So this is a shimmery palette that I think will be really flattering for the holidays if you do have textured lids and want like something chic and sophisticated, but then you have this like pop of green here to really give you something like really exciting to add to the look. You can put it on the outer corner, you can do it on the lower lash line. So you have a lot of options with this one. It's very versatile, and again, I did receive this in PR, but this is one that surprised me in a really good way, and I'm really grateful to have received this palette because it's really pretty, and I will be using this green during the holiday season. Okay, I know that the next couple of palettes won't be a surprise to anyone, but I have two Natasha Denona palettes here. We're going to talk about both of them because I think that they both bring something different to your holiday looks. So we have the I Need a Nude palette, which is again one of the newer palettes that Natasha Denona has come out with, and this is a light neutral palette, but you have these like really pretty shimmers in here. So we have this shade Delilah, which gives you like that kind of wet look on the lid, and it's just like a more subtle shimmer. And then we have the shade Muse here. I'm not going to swatch every shade in every palette, but as you can see, if you're looking for a holiday look or a winter look, nude look, what I like about this palette is it's really, really versatile. So you can start out with your daytime look, and let's say you got to stop by home and head out to a holiday event, you can come back in with one of these shimmer shades. So this is a really versatile palette, and I do really reach for the mattes in here. I really enjoy Natasha Denona's matte formula, and I can see here, I'm looking at it, I use the shade Mesh quite a bit, but this is like a really, really lovely light daytime palette, and you can still deepen up. You have this deeper brown hair silhouette if you wanted to smoke it out a little bit, like a friendly daytime smoky type of look, but this is one that I have been enjoying pretty consistently and will continue to use throughout the holiday season. So we have the Xenon palette here, and I like to think of this as I Need a Nude's like more vampy sister. And this is definitely the go-to for smoky eye looks, and I have thought of this palette as perfect for New Year's season, like the end of the year. So after Christmas, when you're having like New Year's events and things like that, this is such a great palette for that, and I think it'll work really beautifully throughout the winter when all of the holiday lights come out, but you're still looking for like, you know, some glam throughout the winter season. And you have some really, really stunning shades here. Like you have the shade Stellar, which is kind of like a, it's like, it's silver, but it looks like a snowy white shade almost. And then we have Super Ionic. Like this silver is like blinding. Like that is going to be so, so pretty. And I know Natasha has done some really beautiful looks on her Instagram, but this is going to be such a fun palette for New Year's and the winter season. And just look at those shades there. They look kind of similar on camera, but there is a nuance there. But yeah, so Natasha, we've got our daytime glam and our nighttime glam for the holiday. She has you covered. Okay, the next palette is one that I wanted to get from Sephora during the Sephora sale. It's sold out, and for good reason. This is a neutral palette. This is 100. This is, what is this one called? I think it's called Stora Dolls. It doesn't have the name on here, but this is one of the mini clutch palettes that YSL has come out for holiday, and it is such a pretty palette, guys. Like this is a very easy palette. We have like a really lovely formula. Okay, like this shade, it gives you the shine and the sheen without being like chunky glittery. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like if you were looking for something a little smoother, especially again when you have like mature lids or you have texture on your lids, like shadows like this, and just excuse me, I have like, but look at that, like that gives you like a wet effect. I really like this. It's very easy, simple. You can travel with this if you're traveling for the holidays. Like this packaging is just so, so pretty. So I really love that one, and I'm really excited to use that for the holidays. I will be taking that with me on some travel. The next few palettes I want to talk about are from Viseart. So I have 3 palettes from Viseart. It was very hard for me to narrow down the ones that I would probably use for holiday purposes. I'll be more flexible with myself outside of this video, but the first one I'm going to show you guys is the Cashmerie Charmeuse, and this is the newest release from Viseart along with the Violette Vespertine, and I love the Violette Vespertine. That one's more purpley, but when I was thinking of the two, which one would I really gravitate toward for a specifically a holiday themed look, I chose Charmeuse because we have this kind of bronzy shade here and this golden shade here, and for the holidays, personally, this is my opinion, I always think of just, you know, like golds and bronzes, and like this shade is unreal. I don't have the name off the top of my head because it looks bronze in the pan, but look at that shift. It is so beautiful. So I love that shade. So you get like that shimmery purple, and then we have the little bit of gold. So if you were trying to do like a jewel tone holiday look that you could, and then you have this other beautiful duochrome here. I mean, this palette is full of surprises. I think the promo pics did not do it justice, but look at that. Like, that is for sure stunning, going to be a stunning holiday look. Right there, those three shades. So you could do something just like really ethereal, very pretty with that. And again, Viseart has one of those formulas that I find to be particularly forgiving on the eyes. Okay, moving on to the next couple of palettes, I decided that if I had to narrow it down between the Petits, these were the two that really evoke holiday for me. There is a peridot one. So it's kind of hard not to pull that in, but I was like, you know, this video could go on for hours, and December is only 31 days. And I had to be judicious about what do I think I'm actually going to use, because I'm going to take these palettes and put them where, oh my god, that just jumped out. I'm going to put these palettes where I know I'm going to use them. So we have the Petits Garnet, and for me, this red shade. So if I wanted to pull in like a red garnet color, the shade right here, look at that shade. So you could swipe this honestly like all over the lid and get a really pretty red Christmas look. You use that in the outer V, so you have a lot of options with that. And then we have this really pretty kind of orangey bronzy shade. This kind of reminds me of a past Pat McGrath quad that is no longer available. I cannot remember the name of it, but I still have that one. But I wanted to try my best for the most part to pull out things that you can actually still get. And so these palettes are still available on the Viseart website. And then we have the Petits Bullion palette, which has this black shade, and we have like 3 gold tones in here. It kind of reminds me of the Dior gold palette, the face palette with the highlighters, but this translates obviously to be more pigmented on the eyes. So we have these golden shades and the black, and guys, like these are just really soft and pretty gold. So if you're looking for gold, but you maybe can't do like that liquid metallic one because it creases, like this formula is just so pretty. So this is another really good option for, I think, a New Year's palette. So if you think that the Xenon is too cool tone and maybe silvers aren't your thing, this quad is just so pretty. And you have the black here, which you could use in the outer V. You could use it as a liner and then just do 1 or 2 or all of the gold shades depending on what you're interested in. So I think these are such versatile palettes. I love the formulations on these. These are 2 of my favorite for holiday, and they are still available on the Viseart website. I did purchase these. And then the Charmeuse I was kindly gifted. So I love Viseart as a brand, and they have quite a few beautiful palettes that you would get a lot of use out, not just throughout the holidays, but just anytime, honestly. But these are the 3 holiday-ish picks that I would be using. So I'm going to keep things moving, guys, because it's so easy to ramble when you're talking about eyeshadow palettes. It's probably the type of makeup I get most excited about. But I wanted to talk about 2 Pat McGrath palettes that I think are still available, and then an honorable mention one that is not available but is so perfect for the holidays, that if you have this one, I hope that you can pull it out. But the first palette I'm going to talk about is Mothership II Huetopian Dream. Okay, this is such a stunning palette, and at first glance I think most people would say, oh, this is kind of springy, but hear me out. With these special shades, you could pull these special shades in particular to get a holiday look. And I say that because recently I was at a good friend's holiday party, and the look was coming together really beautifully, and then I decided, you know, I need a little extra sparkle, so I pulled in this special shade, guys. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty on the lid. Okay, now you're looking at this and you're thinking like, what's special about that? But when you press this on, it's almost like glittery in like the best way possible. And if you don't like glitters, but you like sparkle, this is such a gorgeous shade. And then you have this beautiful shade here, which is a duochrome, and you get the pink and the green, and it looks kind of wet, and you can play with these and just have like the best time. So I am putting this into, like, if you have a unicorn aesthetic and you like sparkles, like this is so pretty for holiday. Like I'm telling you, like this shade here is stunning, and I'm gonna try to show you that. Like if you, all you wanted to do was like tap this shade on top of like a matte, you get this really pretty sparkle. So I was like really happy. I had a lot of people who really liked the eyeshadow, because I actually had this layered on top of some other shimmer shadows and I wanted more. I was getting greedy for the shine, and I really loved how that came out. So this palette was kind of the sleeper surprise for holiday palettes, and I would definitely recommend pulling this one out if you have it. And if you don't, check it out. I think Pat McGrath still has her sale going on. So the other Mothership palette that I will be putting into rotation for the holiday season is Mothership II Sublime. And you guys already know, based on the theme of this video, it's going to be the green. And this green in particular is so pretty and shifty on the eyes. This is one of those special baked shades, and I'm not able to capture it. It's just like, it's so cool in the pan. And you can see it kind of goes from like a green to like a plummy color, depending on what direction you're looking at it from. But this is such a gorgeous shade. And then of course, I've got another gorgeous shifty golden tone here. And it looks, see, it looks pink. As soon as you swatch it, it gives you something different. Like it looks gold from one angle, pink from another. And then I've got this bronzy shade here. So even just these three, and then the fact that I have these like mattes, and like for my skin tone in particular, this is why I love Pat McGrath palettes. Like these are the perfect tone and shade for me to work with these. And you know, I haven't used the black enough. I use this black as a liner actually when I use this palette. I've dipped a little bit into the brown, but the star of the show for me is the special shades. This is such a pretty inner corner highlight shade. Okay, and then I could just keep going, guys. Like I want to, this kind of like satin shade here. Even that has a pretty shine. So this is really pretty. Again, the sale is going on. These are on discount right now. So if you have had your eye on a Mothership, the best place to buy them is during Pat McGrath's Black Friday sale. And I don't know if it's even Black Friday anymore. It's turned into kind of like Black Friday season because the sales are still on. So if you can snatch this while there's a discount on it, I recommend it because it's an absolutely gorgeous palette. Just really honorable mention, I don't know that this is available anymore, but if you happen to see this, because I know some of Pat McGrath's products have been showing up in TJ Maxx. I don't know if this is going to come back, but this is the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette in Bronze Bliss, and this is from the last year's holiday collection because there weren't, I mean, I have a couple of the quints from this year's holiday collection, but I haven't really dug into them to really have an opinion on them other than I know I like the color stories. But this, I'm going to see if I can block this. This palette is so amazing. I used this last year for my 40th birthday look because you have everything that you need to do a really glam palette, a really glam look. I would say that it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Petits in Bullion. These two have similarities, so if you don't have this one, this could be comparable. It's not exactly the same because the finishes aren't the same. And I'll show you this middle shade here is the reason why I'm like obsessed with this palette. And I'm sorry for the reflection here, but like this shade here is everything. And I'm gonna try to like find a space to swatch. Like, look at that. I think Pat doesn't need to like keep bringing out new stuff if she could like just put this one back out. But this shade right here is phenomenal. And you can see I have a healthy dent in there. I'm gonna cry the day that I use that up. And we have this like bronze shade. Like, these are just so buttery and smooth and pigmented, and they look amazing on the eye. And like, I just can't get enough of this one. This is one of my favorite quints that she's done, and I would love to see this come back in another format or the same format even. But I just wanted to mention this one because in case you have it and you want to use this for the holidays, like, please pull this one out. So the next kind of grouping of palettes I'm going to talk about are the indie palettes that I have been using and enjoying and will be using and putting into rotation for holiday season because they just do these cool special shades like no one else. So the first palette in this segment that I'll be talking about is the brand new What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. It is what I have on my eyes today. And What's Up Beauty has really come up. They sent me their Geodes palette and their Monsoon palette some time ago, and I didn't know much about the brand when they reached out to me. They had a very small following, and they've been working really hard over there because now you're starting to see them get a lot of recognition, which I'm really happy to see happen because they're bringing interesting things to the market. And so we have this gorgeous palette here, and okay, initially, you know, I wouldn't have necessarily thought of this as a holiday palette, but you definitely can use it that way. Again, we have this gorgeous green shade here, the shade Scales, which it is shifty. There's multiple duochromes in here. We have Fire, Magic. On my lids today, I have the shade Magic and Fly, and that was really it. And I layered it over the matte shades. I put it over Smoke as the base, and then I buffed the shade Powerful, which is this purpley shade, in the crease. And on me, it looks kind of deep in the pan, but it blended out really, really nicely. These are made in Italy, so there is a very nice formulation here, very nice quality ingredients, very good performance. I'm very excited to have this palette. I think of the What's That Beauty palettes I've received, this might be my favorite one of the three that they have. And I also recommend their brushes, guys, because their brushes are natural goat hair brushes and they're phenomenal quality. But yeah, I'm really excited to pull the Dragon Eye palette out for the holiday season. The next palette I'm really excited to put into more heavy rotation for the holiday season is the Adept Cosmetics Inspired palette. This palette is absolutely stunning. I believe this was my very first purchase from the brand, and it's, you know, I haven't pumped the brakes yet because Adept has been one of those brands. I tried it for the first time, I want to say this year, and my collection has just grown because I'm such a big fan of the brand and the formulas. And of course, as you can see, we have this stunning matte green shade here called Edward Rasmus, and we have this other multi-chrome here that is really, really stunning. And I'm trying not to swatch like every single palette, guys, but it's really, really hard. But look at that. So we have this shade here. It just looks like liquid emeralds. And excuse my dehydrated fingers. I need to drink more water, guys. I know this. Okay. I know somebody like out there is a doctor and be like, she doesn't drink enough water. I know. I'm gonna drink water after this. This is gonna be so pretty for the holidays, and we've got a little, you know, shimmery action here, but it's really, for me, the greens. Like, I think if you're looking for like a green holiday-ish palette, this is really, really stunning for that. And I'm really excited to use this as a base shade and just layer some of the multi-chromes on top. So, Inspired palette by Adept, super pretty. You know that we can't talk about holiday palettes without talking about the Oden's Eye, Christmas Eve, and Merry Christmas palettes. And I know that they released new holiday palettes this year, and I was thinking about getting them, and I thought harder, and I realized that I don't really need or want those. I think that it was really smart of Oden's Eye to actually re-release the OG palettes. And I have a video doing looks with these. I've done short form content with these. They're just really, really good. I hope what Oden's Eye decides to do is just bring these back every year, because people love these palettes, and for good reason. So this is the Christmas Eve palette. This one is absolutely gorgeous. You have these like beautiful blues, beautiful formulations, golds. I love this pop of kind of soft green here in the palette. It's just visually interesting, but it's still cohesive. I think that's the challenge in having some of their newer collections, is that the way maybe my brain is working, I'm not seeing the cohesion in the color story. And that is blocking me. Just like the new Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette, which looks really cool. Very heartwarming story behind the creation of that palette. But the way I am looking at it, I am having a really hard time feeling connected to that color story, even though I feel connected to the story of the palette itself. So for me, this vein of product is really, I think, a sweet spot for Oden's Eye. And look at this. So the Merry Christmas palette, this is, for me, you know, I grew up celebrating Christmas in a traditional, I guess, Christian way. And so these colors really evoke those memories for me. And I think they, you know, really do a really good job embodying a traditional notion of what Christmas is. And that is just my personal opinion. I think if people like the new palettes, I have seen some really, really gorgeous looks with them. But I am so glad that I was able to get my hands on these, and I really hope that Oden's Eye makes it a holiday tradition to bring these back. You have the green, you have the red, the poinsettia, which is stunning, the gold, you have a beautiful black, you have this shade Hot Cocoa, which is like a reddish color with like a little brown to it. It's just really done well. It's really done well. It was really thoughtful. So these are a must, I think, for the holiday season, and I hope that they restock these and they don't make people wait till next year. But if you do decide to restock it, I think this should be like an annual release. Okay, next we have one of the newer palettes to my collection. This is the Cosmic Brushes Winter Wonderland palette, and I think that it's really obvious to see why this is a Winter Wonderland palette. We have these blues, purples, we have a beautiful black here, we have a deep teal color, we've got some really pretty pastels, pigmented pastels that show up on my skin tone that I'm really excited about. We've got multi-chrome, so you have a little bit of everything. So I think if you're having post-holiday blues, which kind of happens to me, I get kind of sad after Christmas is over and people take all the decorations and things down in the new year. This is such a fun palette that I think will go beyond the holiday season and really be fun to wear in the winter season. And you can just do so much with this palette. So I'm really glad that I picked this one up. And Cosmic Brushes is one of those brands that is not only really interesting and putting out, you know, very cool offerings, but it's affordable too, even if it's in the UK. So it did take me a little bit of time to get it, but I have no complaints. They did their best to keep me updated on the shipping. I think the owner is very communicative on social media. So I really am excited to have this in my collection. I have some other Cosmic Brushes palettes that I think are really beautiful, and I will be using those at some point, but this one I think is like top tier for like winter and holiday looks, and I'm really excited to have this in my collection. Okay, last but not least, I think a palette that you're not going to be surprised to see me have is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 5 I Am palette. This stunning, stunning piece of art came out, I want to say in September, October. It has been on sale a couple of times in a couple of places. I think if you are looking to get some money off the Sephora sale that's happening right now, you can get 20% off and you don't need to be rouge. I would check Danessa's website. I know during Black Friday she had this palette on sale, but let's go ahead and look inside and see why this is going to be such a gorgeous palette for the holiday and winter season. Okay, you have more green, and we have some beautiful burgundy, the shade Unbreakable here, and of course this silver shade, which I'm gonna swatch right now, called Invincible. And let me get it in there. Like, look, more silver, okay, more silvery shades. Let me find a spot to swatch. Okay, that's absolutely stunning. So if Natasha Denona Xenon is not your speed because it's too monochromatic, it's not visually interesting enough, consider investing in this one because you have a variety of colors. These shades are really, really beautiful on the lid, of course, but you know, you can get really creative with them and maybe do something where you put some on the lips as well if you wanted to do like a festive lip. But I love that Danessa always thinks about really innovative, interesting colors and finishes and textures. She's really an artist and she has fun with it. She has a lot of fun with it. So this is like the fun holiday palette, and I'm really excited to have this in my collection because I think that these are limited edition. I don't think that any of the other Lightwork palettes have come back once they fully sold out. And so if you have a chance to get this, especially if you have a chance to get it on sale, I think it will be a beautiful addition to have not only during the holidays, but beyond the holidays as well. So yes, I'm very excited to have this one. Okay guys, so that is it for the palettes. We went through, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16. 16? I need double count. Oh, 17. Sorry, we went through 17 palettes today. And I think each of them brings something really fun to my holiday collection. Now, these aren't specific to the holidays, obviously, but when I think of what the holiday look is, these are the palettes that evoke those feelings for me. And you might have a different opinion, and that is totally okay. So I would love to know what you thought of these palettes. I would love to hear what are some of the palettes or makeup items that you love to use during the holidays. Do you have anything in particular that just, you know, that is your go-to? I would love to hear about it. And definitely let me know in the comments like what you thought of this video, and if there were any of these palettes in particular you would like to see me do content with. I tend to do more short form content with tutorials just because of time constraints. It's a little bit easier and quicker for me to get that content up for you guys if it's in a short form video, but I do also enjoy the long form content. I would love to be able to post here more consistently for you guys. So if there's anything in particular that you really want to see me talk about, especially some of the newer palettes that have come out, please let me know, because I have even more behind the scenes, but I was like, this is the best I could do, narrowing it down. I'm going to try to do better at curating myself. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me today and chatting about makeup. It really means a lot to me. I so appreciate everybody who continues to support my channel, and I appreciate you coming. If you are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe, like, leave me a comment, even just saying hi. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!